Hello, my dear friends. This is Dr. Prasanna Lodh, All India Rank UPSC CSE 2019-524. Uh, Today we are going to talk about the basics of Indian economy. So let me brief you with you must be knowing about the orientation and basics of economy, but I would like to ask you to keep these conversations two-way. In an last half hour, we will be having question and answers and doubt discussion clearance. In that, I want your active participation. Basically, uh, Indian economy, what UPSC subject, the the subject which is in your syllabus for examination is Indian economy and not the economics. There is a huge difference between these two. So get it straight. The weightage for this subject is 15 to 20 questions can be expected from the economy part in the preliminary examination. Also, it has heavy weightage in the general studies part for the mains. Also, it is one of the very favorite question field during the personality test, which is also called as an interview. So, uh, Indian economy in the preliminary part, 15 to 20 questions directly and indirectly, management of resources, plus some questions that are on the fence, which we can tell it also comes under agriculture. It also comes under the economy part because resource management and resources are also in the subject and in the what we say syllabus of this examination. So I am a medical school graduate. I am an MBBS, and I didn't have any knowledge of economy back then. But many aspirants, just like me, who are not from economy background, they perceive this subject as tough, also boring. So that's why we keep procrastinating. We keep avoiding this subject, which is another Himalayan blunder. So because you cannot ignore a subject from which 15 assured questions are there in the preliminary examination. So this forms the core of your preparation. Also not just for preliminary, for also mains and also interview. Because uh, why economy is given so much importance in our civil service preparation? Because India, you must all be knowing that India is a country with 18% of world population residing or inhabiting on just 2.4% of the landmass available. So that puts huge burden on our resources. So resource management becomes critical thing. And what is resource management? We are a resource scarce country on one hand, and on other hand we are the second most populous country. So there the uh, the prime duty of any governance is to manage the resources. There shall not be mismanagement, but it should be optimal management. It should be efficient management of resources, which is in another word is economy. Economy is nothing but management of resources. So this is the very first chapter in which we are going to understand the basics of economy and some terms from economics. But just remember, for your UPSC syllabus, Indian economy is in the syllabus, not whole economics. Okay, you just need to memorize or remember some basic concepts, and then everything what will come in the examination will be from 50% question from the static, from monetary policy committee, uh, or the GDP, GNP, NNP, what we are going to study tomorrow and study today, and remaining 50% question will be from dynamic aspect, means the current situation of economy, post LPG post LPG reforms of 1991, bank nationalization, uh, what are the fiscal policies, and for this, for the preparation of economy, I would recommend what I have read and benefited me was Ramesh Singh, Shankar Ganeshan. These were the books, standard text that I always read. But the most important document for preparation of economy is the economic survey, which is published by the government of India before budget. That forms the cardinal part of your preparation for economy. So आपको भारतीय अर्थव्यवस्था पढ़ने के लिए आपका इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया पढ़ना बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. So we will start with our economy because we have already limited time. So economic comes from a Greek word oikos, which means family or land or estate, and norms, law, customary law. So the customary law which manages the estate or family property is economy. uh, Economy means the transaction. It forms the transaction. Okay, there are two modes of transaction. One is primitive mode, in which we had barter system, we had judgmani system. Okay, and in the modern world, in the modern day, we have monetary form of transactions. So we are going to study the monetary part, the modern transactions. So this is economy. So where you can see this slide. Okay, so the definitions of economy, as I said, that it is a social activity, definitely, because it involves the transaction. It's a medium of transaction between two individuals or two firms, or an individual or a firm. Okay, so economy is a social activity where people, but this where individuals or firms, या फिर ऐसे भी लिख सकते हैं, where people or legal entities come together to produce, stock, distribute, trade, and facilitate the consumption of goods and services. For any economy, the basic pillars are consumption, which involves private as well as public expenditure. If you are spending on something, it's private expenditure. If government is spending on something, it's government expenditure. But the theme remains same. It's consumption. Consumption plus investment plus exports. Okay. So these are the three basic pillars of economy. Either something is produced by investment, or it is consumed by a private individual like you and me, or government, or if not, then it is exported to some other destination where it is again consumed only. Okay, so basic remains. So the consumption of goods and services, this is the thing that it ये होना ही चाहिए आपके आंसर में. Okay, so as I said, primary mode of transaction were barter, judgmani. Now in modern world, the modern world or new world order, we have monetary transaction. So economic growth and development. Again, the thing comes growth. Growth is a quantitative thing, and development is qualitative thing, right? Uh, our economy has grown. Okay, yeah, post liberalization, our economy has grown. The foreign exchange reserves has shot up, which is very good in fact. But another survey made in the last decade, it show that only few individuals, the richer section, have benefited more, and it has not percolated to the common masses. So there was a essay topic in the UPSC mains few years back, jobless growth. Growth is there, definitely post liberalization growth is there, but it is not creating jobs. Only rich are getting richer, and the 1% rich are getting the 62% of the profit in a year. So that is growth. Country is growing, economy is growing, but are we developing? No. So the concept came inclusive growth. In the last 5-year plan, I think that was the theme, that inclusive growth. The growth should be inclusive. It shall be equally distributed amongst all stratas. So that is a burning question still today. But now the new concept has again came forward in our policy, economic policy, that growth shall not be just inclusive, but it also shall be sustainable. So inclusive and sustainable growth, this forms the bedrock of our economic policies. So Growth and development. Growth is a quantitative term. It deals with just production of goods and services between a year, let's say a year. So development, on the other hand, qualifies the economic growth. Means is it inclusive? uh, does this growth focuses on the social capital building? So what is social capital? Health, education, quality of life, equality, gender equality, reducing the gender divide, reducing the rural urban divide. So does our economic or fiscal policies focus on the equitable distribution of resources? See, you can again connect it with the DPSP, Directive Principle of State Policy, where it is stated that state shall strive to reduce the economic inequalities. State shall strive for equality of gender pay. It shall also strive for the interests of the lower sections of the weaker section, poor sections of the society. So you can connect DPSP with the concept of inclusive and sustainable growth. What the economic think tanks of today are thinking and suggesting is being encoded in our constitution decades back. So that was the vision of our founding fathers, that they have implicitly suggested for sustainable and inclusive growth. Not just economic growth, but development is also an issue. So what RBI decides as priority sector lending, that you must spend this much percentage of your lending in these priority areas, is not is another aspect of our development. Growth with quality is development. So economic policy aimed at generating growth and development, among other aims, many subsets like monetary policy. Yes, we have uh, agriculture policy, we have foreign policy, fiscal policy, and industrial policy, and so on. Okay, economic growth. Now we have economic growth comes with the quantity and factors of production. What are the factors of production? Yes, now from prelims perspective, they will definitely ask this 4 out of 1. What are the factors of production? Land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Just imagine, what are the factors of production? If you want to produce a loaf of bread, what you will need? First, you will need a land and related infrastructure for bakery. Then you will need labor, means transporters, marketing, the bakers. Then you would need capital, initial investment capital, to purchase the land, purchase the services from labor. So land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Definitely, without entrepreneurs, nothing can start. They are the starting point, ignition points for any economic activity, entrepreneurship. That's why the current government is focusing much on making entrepreneurs, agripreneurs. Udayami Mitra uh, initiative by SIDBI. Why they are helping entrepreneurship? Because they are the starting point for any economic activity. Okay, these are the factors of production. Just remember: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Remember through examples. Just I quoted the example of a bakery. So try to remember, because these are the things that are going to help you in the examination hall. I am from a medical background, and I was also scared of economy, but I have attempted 4 preliminary examinations now: 2017, 18, 19, and 20. 17 and 18 I could not make it, but my economy success was very good. In 18, 100% economic questions I made it right, and in 2020 also, all of the questions of economy, including agriculture, which I attempted, are correct. So I self developed this skill of understanding the concepts of economy through examples, through mnemonics, because these are the things that are going to help you reproduce your knowledge about economy, a technical subject like economy, in the examination hall. And after this, your performance in those 3 hours of your mains and your performance in those 30 minutes of your interview, what you have done, what you have put efforts for many years matters. But what matters more is how you comprehend and how you present yourself in the examination hall. So whatever helps you, mnemonics, examples, memorizing things, whatever helps you to reproduce your knowledge in the examination hall, try that. I have made so many mnemonics and so many examples, and I have remembered through them the concepts of economy, and I have performed very good in this subject. Okay, so we will go to the next slide. Simon Kuznets. Okay, these things you don't need to remember much. National income in 1930. It's okay if you remember, but I don't think in prelims they are going to ask you anything like. Now comes the important part. What is GDP? This is, they won't ask you what is GDP, but there will be an option where if you know GDP, you can come to the answer. So gross domestic product, the total monetary value of final finished goods produced within a country's border for a specific time period. Gross domestic product, name is domestic, नाम याद रखिए. Gross national product, name में national है, nationalists, nationals. Domestic means जो यहाँ बना है, irrespective of the nationality. Or gross national product, what nation has nationals has produced, irrespective of the territory. So this is the GDP, GNP. So if an American is making an economic activity in Hyderabad or Chennai or Mumbai or Indore or Patna or Amritsar, that will be counted in our GDP. If a Chinese person is doing some tourism business in Lakshadweep or Andaman or any part of India, that will be our GDP. Okay, but if an Indian national is producing something in America, or an Indian entrepreneur is doing some business with Hong Kong or Shanghai, that will not be under GDP, but that will be under GNP, because that's a national. So the GDP definition you memorize gross national product, as the name suggests, nationals is an estimate of total value of all final products or these goods and services in a given period by means of production owned by the country's residents. This is the gross national product. Okay, GDP focuses on the output produced. GNP focuses on the who produced it, because it nationals, who are the nationals who are producing it. Okay, GNP is GDP plus net factor income from abroad, right? 10 Americans working in India and 100 Indians working in America. What will be the gross national product is the GDP of this country plus the income of 100 Indians working in America minus the income of 10 Americans working in India. That will be the GNP. Now example is there which you can definitely read. A German owned and a Chinese GDP, etc., etc. Many economists still think that GDP shall be the marker. If they ask you in interview what is better, GDP or GNP, then your answer should not be either GDP or GNP. You should say that, sir, both have their own merits and demerits, but most of the economists think that GDP is good, okay, as a marker for country's economic growth and development. Okay, but there are some criticism for GDP also. GDP does not count negative externalities. What are negative externalities? If you put a power plant, coal-based power plant, or a chemical factory, and you are making a 500 crore turnout, so that will be counted in your GDP. But the pollution you are making, the air pollution, the degradation of soil that your chemicals are making, the contamination of underground water that is caused because of your enterprise, these are the negative externalities that were not intended activities, but these are the unavoidable byproducts which are damaging the ecosystem. So there is an economic loss, to the surrounding, which are damaging the health of the individual in that vicinity, which is again making a health expenditure. So these are economic activities, but they are negative in nature because they are damaging something, ecosystem, the health, they are impeding the education, etc., etc. These negative externalities are not counted in counting GDP. So this is one criticism. Another criticism is that if you buy a car, that is the only time that GDP is counted. If you sold it to me, I it's for me it's a second hand car. So the heavy amount of transaction is there, but only final goods are counted. The reselling is not included in it, which is also a big parallel economy in our country. The reselling of vehicles, lands, ornaments, jewels, jewelry, infrastructure, logistic equipment, everything is recycled. So that economy is not counted. Plus, the care economy is a concept there, which Melinda Gates insists on. That she says that the economy, the backbone of GDP, is built on the foundation of GDP is built on the backs of hard-working women in the households. The care given by the women in the household care, domestic care, they are not counted in GDP, but that is a huge amount. That is an unfair part on GDP. So these are the three criticisms of GDP that you need to. National income, GDP versus GNP. I have said the debate. National income. This is the question that you will definitely get every alternate year in the prelims. National income. What is national income? And UPSC loves to ask on national income at factor cost. It is the net national product minus indirect taxes plus subsidies. Just remember this thing. I have remembered it. UPSC has asked 3 to 4 times in these last 10 years national income at factor cost. Just like they are asking capital output ratio, capital adequacy ratio every alternate year, national income every alternate year. They are asking the deposits. Do you basically understood the concept of M0, M1, M2, it's high power money, the liquidity of money? They are asking this question. Net national income, I think in 2018 they have asked, 1920 में नहीं पूछा है, 21 में again they might ask. Net national product. What was gross national product? The total value of final goods and services in an economy by the nationals. Means, so net national product, the net of it minus indirect taxes because there will be taxes plus subsidies because government also extends subsidies. You need to remember this formula, and for it I would suggest you I forgot to mention that book. It is very essential. The red color macroeconomy, NCRT. This the concepts of GDP, GNP, NNP, NDP, and NI. These are given very in a very simple language in that book, and many questions come directly from there. So GVA, I don't think they have asked much on GVA. Market price and factor cost, you can, as the name suggests, factors of production. What were the 4 factors of production? Land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. If I am after this expenditure, I am making a loaf of bread of 100 rupees. Okay, 100 rupees. So that is the factor cost for me. That is the amount I require to make a one bread loaf. But market price will be different because after that I need to pay tax on it, the indirect tax. Plus I will also add my profit margin to it. Otherwise, why I would enter into an activity where I am not going to get profit? So what is the GST on edible processed food? I think it's 18%, 12% slab margin. They have changed a lot since what I have read. So whatever the tax is there on it, plus my personal profit margin, so that will be the market price. In short, market price will always be higher than the factor cost. See, here it is written, market price is equal to factor cost plus indirect tax costs minus subsidies. You need to minus subsidies. If government is giving me subsidy, that I need to minus it, otherwise double counting हो जाएगा उसका. Base year. What is base year? You must all be remembering कि your grandfathers or grandmothers say कि आज बहुत महंगाई हो गई है, हमारे वक्त तो ऐसा नहीं होता था, हमारे वक्त तो 50 रुपए किलो घी आ जाता था, आज 500 रुपए किलो हो गया है. So what is exactly they are comparing is a base year. In their days of 1980s, for example, 1970s, वो जो सेम 1 kg घी का कीमत था वो आज 10 फोल्ड बढ़ गया है. So the inflation is what we are talking about. So base year, for economic growth to be measured, there has to be comparison. How you could measure something is through comparison. So if economic growth has to be measured, it is by comparison. Means economy में भी शर्मा जी का बेटा होना चाहिए. You must all be knowing, I guess, the joke that शर्मा जी का बेटा इतना मार्क्स लाता है, इतना अच्छा क्रिकेट खेलता है. Every household we are being compared with some other guy कि उनका बेटा देखिए, see their son, see their his or her, see their daughter. So so base year is nothing but Sharma ji ka beta in economy. So for economic growth to be measured by comparison, there has to be a starting point in time. Now I think the base year is decided by the National Accounts Statistics, the Central Statistic Office under the MOSPI, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So the base year, for example, if GDP worth 100 rupees in the base year 2011 to 12, and in the next year the value was 108, so the rate of growth was 8%. Yes, 100 रुपए की चीज अगले साल 108 में गई है, तो ग्रोथ कितना हुआ? 8%. बेसिक मैथमेटिक्स. CSO releases it, we know. New GDP series since 2015. Base year is 2011 and 12. Okay. ये सब, you don't remember all these details. रियल ये 130 लाख करोड़ वगैरह ये कोई याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं है. Nobody is going to ask you question on it. Okay, it's just for your understanding there. You can read it from the PPT. So GDP, as I said, consumption plus private investment, government investment or expenditure spending. So three pillars of economy or GDP: consumption, private or government; investment, private or government; plus net means exports, imports, whatever. These are the three pillars of any economic activity. यहाँ पर सिर्फ elaborately इन्होंने दिया है. Next is Human Development Index. United Nations Human Development Index was developed in 1990 as, just remember these two names, Pakistani economist Mahbubul Haq and Amartya Sen, Indian economist Amartya Sen. Since 1993, United Nations Development Program UNDP ये यूज करता है इसके लिए. 3 डायमेंशन होते हैं बेसिकली: लाइफ लॉन्गेटिविटी एंड हेल्थ फर्स्ट, second is knowledge, and third is the standard of living. First ऐसे याद रखिए कि एक्सपेक्टेंसी एट बर्थ, पहले बर्थ होना चाहिए. दिस इज हाउ यू विल रिमेम्बर कि उसे वो बर्थ होना चाहिए. बर्थ होने के बाद वो हेल्दी होना चाहिए, क्यों? ताकि वो सर्वाइव. जस्ट रिमेम्बर लाइक अ स्टोरी. ओके, दिस इज अ स्टोरी. Human Development Index, they ask questions frequently on this thing. In mains you can quote, in essay you can quote, in ethics you can quote, in prelims they can ask, in interview you can quote. So these are the golden concepts in UPSC जो कहीं भी आप यूज कर सकते हैं. So United Nation Development Index, UNDP, Human Development Index, पाकिस्तानी इकोनॉमिस्ट महबूबुल हक, इंडियन इकोनॉमिस्ट अमर्त्य सेन, यूएनडीपी प्रोग्राम में यूज हो रहा है ये स्टेटिस्टिक। तीन चीजों पे, थ्री पैरामीटर्स पे ये किसी भी कंट्री का ये मेजर होगा। पहले लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी एट बर्थ, पहले जन्म हो, फिर उसका हेल्थ अच्छा हो। देखिए दिस आर द वर्ड्स, दिस इज हाउ आई रिमेम्बर थिंग्स। पहले जन्म होगा, फर्स्ट देयर विल बी बर्थ, देन देयर विल बी अ हेल्दी लाइफ, और वो लॉन्ग होनी चाहिए, ठीक है। अब ये इसमें अगर सरवाइव कर लिया तो उस बच्चे को हम स्कूल में डालेंगे, ठीक है। स्कूल में डालेंगे क्यों? ताकि उसे नॉलेज मिले। सी दिस इज अ टाइप ऑफ स्टोरी दैट आई इट विल हेल्प यू टू रिमेम्बर, ठीक है। ऐसे याद रखिए, मैंने ऐसे याद रखी है। फिर उसे स्कूल में जाएगा तो उसे नॉलेज मिलेगा, तो उससे हम उसका एडल्ट लिटरेसी उसका हम मेजर कर सकेंगे। कैसे? कि वो उसका कंबाइंड प्राइमरी सेकेंडरी एंड टर्शरी एजुकेशन लेवल कैसा था, क्रॉस एनरोलमेंट रेशो कैसा है, उस पर हम उसका एडल्ट लिटरेसी रेट उस कंट्री का बनाएंगे, ठीक है। अब वो एक हेल्दी इंडिविजुअल था विथ गुड स्कूलिंग, सो विल कम द स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग, उसी पे तो डिपेंड करता है। नाउ टुडे आई I had a good care in my childhood. I had good schooling by my parents. They raised me well. They raised me well, so that they educated me, so that I went to a professional degree of MBBS. Then I cleared UPSC examination. Okay, so यहाँ तक मेरा development अच्छा हुआ. Now I am going in a standard of living, a decent standard of living. Okay, so these are the three pillars. इस पर हम याद रखेंगे. This is the important thing that you need to remember, that what is the rank of India. It is 129 out of 189 countries in 2019, but previously it was 130, so we have developed a point. Okay, happiness index. There is a new concept proposed by Bhutan. Bhutan is a tiny Himalayan nation, a very good friend of India. We not just have geographical but also spiritual bonding. Most of the economic activities of Bhutan are assisted by India. It's very wrong to use the term depend on India, because it is somewhat derogatory towards our friendly neighbor. So uh, a soft way to tell that the economy of Bhutan depends on the India, the good way or officer's way of talking will be, the most of the economic activities of Bhutan are assisted by India. So this is how an officer will talk or think. Okay, so happiness index, uh, SDSN, United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network, SDSN. This releases the World Happiness Report, where countries keep on spending to build the financial capitals or the economic capitals. Now this term has come that you need to spend also on the building of social capital, health, education, poverty eradication, uh, uh, not just providing food security, but nutritional security is also important. Food is a quantitative thing, nutrition is a qualitative thing. So now government has, after Food Security Act of 2013, now government has come out with Poshan Abhiyan. The FSSI is coming out of the concept with hidden hunger. So this is how you should approach. Why this is there? Because happiness index is rating India low, because you are spending on building on economic and financial assets, but not on social assets. This is done by Bhutan. This is done by Bhutan. Okay, and why they are, you know that the salary of a primary teacher in Bhutan is equivalent to the salary of a civil officer there, a rank super class 1 officer there. It's not that the salaries of civil services officer is less. I want to say that in Bhutan, teachers' salary is so high that it will attract the best of the minds, passionate minds in the education field. So that's how Bhutan is spending on building social capital. The status of teacher is kept equivalent to the civil service servants. So that's why a good dynamic brain will be passionate to become teacher in our country. He or she will teach the students which are the future, which are the human resources of country. So they focus on the happiness. Okay, Indian states and happiness. And this is a state-wise study of Madhya Pradesh. Okay, I don't think that UPSC ever asks on the state statistics. Okay, multidimensional poverty index, UNDP and Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative. As the name suggests, Human Development Index, only three pillars were counted. Now, multidimensional poverty index. Uh, Poverty is multidimensional, multi-structured. Okay, so education, health, standard of living, these are the three things are there. But other than that, uh, what other dimensions of social life impacts or aggravates or elevates poverty, that are also studied here. Okay, the standard of living, many parameters: electricity, drinking water, sanitation, flooring, cooking fuel, assets, these are counted. So that poverty is multidimensional. In in poverty there are stratification. Some are extremely poor, some are moderately poor, some poor for some part of time of a year, and for rest of the time they are low income groups. This is the concept. Green GDP, climate sensitivity, uh, green bonds. We have floated green bonds. Digital. I think World Bank has started this initiative of green bonds. Purchasing power parity. This is another concept that UPSC focuses on. The value of GDP of a country estimated in domestic currency. It is Indian rupee in case of India, but dollar for America. Okay. So purchasing power parity is the name suggests. What is the purchasing power? Means parity is equality. What is the purchasing power of that currency? For example, about 70 rupees in the calendar year 2008 is number of rupees that fetch the US dollar. This is not, I think, a good example for you. For example, uh, currency convertibility and parity. These are the two concepts that you need to remember here. Okay. Uh, in India, if a McDonald's burger is 100 rupees, but in USA it's just $2. So does that mean that McDonald's is costlier in India and cheaper in USA? It's for $2 there, and it's for 100 rupees in India. But if you convert those $2 in Indian rupees, it will be 120 rupees. So this is the difference. I think you have to read more on that. Purchasing power parity, the power of purchase, and its equality among the masses. It's a simple concept, but you need to revise more. Millennium Development Goals, these are outdated now. UPSC is not going to ask question, but it's in the slide, so I'll tell you. Eight MDGs were decided, and it will end by 2015, as it was said. So MDGs हम अटेंड नहीं कर पाए जो हमने डिजायर किए थे, 8 targets. So now we have replaced it with 17 sustainable development target, as the growth shall not just be inclusive but sustainable also. So by 2015, the think tank of this world thought that sustainability shall be the prime focus, because climate change, and we are seeing everything, the reckless exploitation of resources, the mismanagement of resources has led us to the speeding of climate change, which is deleterious not for human but all biotic flora and fauna on this planet. So sustainable development goal plans. The first time word sustainable was used in the Brundtland Commission in its report Our Common Future. These three things you need to remember. Sustainable development goals, I will give you how to memorize it. Brundtland Commission report, first time in 1987, Our Common Future. Just remember these three things about sustainable development. So what are the sustainable development goals? There are 17 sustainable development goals, which are very confusing, but let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a mnemonic how I remember. It might work for you, it might not work for you, but it has worked for me very nicely. And it's very simple, but थोड़ा सा मेरा लॉजिक था, शायद वो आपको पता है नहीं चलेगा. सॉरी, ये निमोनिक्स जो होते हैं, तो जस्ट डोंट जज इट. ये सिर्फ, these are not our thoughts but just an idea to keep in mind. 1 रुपया की भीख means poverty. This is how I remembered. 2 minutes Maggie, something with eating, so zero hunger. आयुर्वेदा में आरोग्य के 3, आई एम अ डॉक्टर सो आई रिमेम्बर्ड. कफ पित्त वात, आयुर्वेदा हेल्थ, so good health and well-being. 3, कफ पित्त वात. There are 4 C's of education. ये political concept है, polity में concept है. 4 C's of education. तो 4th SDG is education. 5 is 50-50. Ardhanar Nareshwar. I remembered through our art and culture concept. 50-50. 5. 50-50. Ardhanari, Ardha Nareshwar. There is a concept. So 50-50. 6. There is a statistics that 1 out of 6 human beings on this planet are not accessible to potable drinking water. They are drinking. This is a report. नीति आयोग में भी दिया है और वर्ल्ड रिपोर्ट, यूनाइटेड नेशन रिपोर्ट में भी है कि 1 out of 6 इंडिविजुअल आर नॉट हैविंग एक्सेस टू पोर्टेबल वाटर. सो ये 6. 7 is clean energy, affordable and clean energy. Energy comes from the sun. और सूरज को 7 घोड़े होते हैं. In our tradition, मकर संक्रांति is there. So 7 घोड़े होते हैं सूर्य देव को. तो sun is the source of energy. तो clean energy. Otherwise, you can also remember 7 rainbow, 7 colors of rainbow. Why rainbow is there? Because on a rainy day, sun is also there. So 7 rainbow. So SDG 7 is clean energy. 8, decent work and economic growth. I was a medical officer in JJ Hospital. So my duty hours were 8 to evening 6. So I need to reach there by 8 a.m. So 8 बजे मैं जाता था. तो decent work and economic growth. This is my story. It might, most of the offices in private setup, they start by 8 a.m. Okay, multinational companies वगैरह shift होता है वहाँ, 8 to 8 shift वैसे कुछ होता है. 9th, industry, innovation, infrastructure. 9, nanotechnology. Nanotechnology speaks about industry, it speaks about innovation, it speaks about infrastructure. 9 to nanotechnology. Okay. Now 10, I memorized it, reduced inequalities. There is no mnemonic for it. 11, if you remember World Trade Towers that were destroyed in the unfortunate terrorist attack of 9/11 in New York. So those 2 pillars were, if you see, were like 11. So sustainable cities, New York City, sustainable city. फिर यही बात है कि 12, responsible consumption and production. I made a mnemonic which is very weird. Sorry, I can't tell you. Then this is 14, 15. There are 15 plates, 15 tectonic plates, major, minor. So life on land, tectonic plates, land. 14, life below water. 14 is a word in Japanese language for fish. So this is how remembered. Few of them and few you need to memorize. Okay, so now we will start the question answer session to make it more interactive. Okay, so I would appreciate if you ask question. If they are relevant with your UPSC preliminary as well as mains examination, then I would answer you. If it's not, then I would also tell you that it's not relevant, because The prime focus of your preparation, that too on a technical subject like economy, shall not just be knowledge gathering, because you will be exhausted, you will exhaust your ears, but you will not complete the knowledge of economy. Okay, so you try to be precise. Our goal is to score more marks in examination and not to become a double PhD in any subject. Okay, so we will start. Why there is questions are coming to me privately, we can go for general also. Okay, sir, will Mrunal economy lectures will be helpful or not? Yes, for one time, for basic clearance, I also went through Mrunal sir's notes and also YouTube videos. I found it useful because sir has a very long experience in teaching. So yes, definitely. But for one time, they will help you to a certain limit of your preparation. They will give you the required direction and push. Okay, not more than that. Don't rely totally on it, but for it you can definitely go. I There is another query. I joined late this session. If you have already told about books, then please repeat it. Yes, I'll again repeat it. The bedrock of preparation for Indian economy is the NCRT book on macroeconomics, the red color NCRT. You can definitely expect 2 to 3 questions in prelim as well as mains directly from that book. Next book will be Ramesh Singh, but don't read it cover to cover. Only those selected chapters which are in your syllabus. Okay, don't read it cover to cover. Next book will be a very short and precise book, which you will read cover to cover. Will be Sankar Ganesan, The Basic Concepts of Indian Economy. It's a very beautiful book, but you need to do value addition in it. These are the standard text, but the cardinal text for or literature for your exam perspective will be the economic survey of last year and this year. These two economic survey you need to mug up, you need to memorize, you need to have thorough clarity. Don't read the whole survey, gist. There are many coaching classes, they come out with the gist. You can take any gist, but go through that gist. Definitely questions will be there. So these are the book. Next question will be, can I go through Sri Ram and current affairs? Friend, I have never read that note, so I can't comment on that. What has worked for me uh, means this can work for you also, but I have never read, so I can't comment. Can it be a substitute for books? So how to make notes for Indian economy? What I did for Indian economy was the Sankar Ganeshan book is short and precise, but there is ample space to write. Whatever new point was there, I used to write on it. When I exhausted the space, there was a gist of the economic survey, the Xerox, of course. So I made so much. What is notes for economy? You don't need to write everything. Just the statistics, the data, or something different. For example, do you know the salaries of economic election commission are not in the budget? They make their own expenses budget, you know. These are some points. I'll also remember many reports I made about it. So these are the value addition, the crisp points. There was a very beautiful sentence in the Hindu 2 years back which I have written, and I used it very free-handedly in essay and GS also. Yes, India is a resource limited country, and money matters for us, but intention matters more. So for any public policy or government policy, I used to write this beautiful sentence. Sir, is it necessary to remember facts and data for prelim? Yes, It's very important because if you have seen since 2017, UPSC has shifted from very general questions to specific question when it's come to economy. For example, they are asking the area planted under jowar in India, area planted under sugarcane, the exponential rise of the forex reserves. They are asking that data facts. Also, uh, there is a discussion that in 3 to 4 years, UPSC is going to introduce new general studies, a paper on statistics dedicatedly to statistics in mains also. So yes, they have started giving importance to facts and data in prelims, and one day will come that they will introduce the Indian statistical paper, general studies paper. So yes, it's very important. uh, Chetan is asking how about Sanjeev Verma book. uh, it's a good book, very plain book, but again you will need to do very much exercise in future. आपको बहुत value addition करना पड़ेगा. From Sudha. Thank you, sir. Sankar Ganeshan Karuppa, Indian King Concept. Please confirm this is the book. Yes. Sankar Ganeshan Karuppa, Indian Economy Key Concepts. This is the book. Thank you. Thanks. Any more questions? Please, we are running out of time. Reading Ramesh Singh? No, absolutely not. It is not the book to be read from page to page. Only NCRT Red Color, page to page. Shankar Ganeshan Karuappa, page to page. Uh, Rest you need not Ramesh Singh. Only the important chapters which are in the syllabus, that only you need to read. It's too verbose and exhaustive book. Don't read it page to page. So I hope I my mnemonics and tricks helped you remember sustainable development goals, because when you will be writing mains, uh, almost every question will be related or will be between these 17 sustainable development goals. Okay, so in a way forward you can beautifully quote. If question is on for example gender equality, so in way forward you can directly put uh, so in spirit of the sustainable development goal number 5, which focuses or which asserts on gender equality. India has onus to India has onus to uplift itself to the status as stated in the SDG 5. It's a beautiful way forward. So if I already read the concepts and I'm clear with my basics, so what should I do for mains? If you are good with basics, then you go on the next level where you will compile the data from Niti Aayog reports, India at 75. That's a very beautiful book. You start reading economy from that. You start reading the last year and this year uh, economic survey. That will be one of the very good sources for your value enhancements, so that you will score very good marks in economy. If you write according to the demand of the question, then definitely you will score very good marks. So we will revise in a very short. Thank you. It's okay. It's okay. We are teaching here. So, basic quick revision for our syllabus. Indian economy is in the syllabus. Economics, the only basics of economics. So don't try to master yourself in the. Don't go too deep, become too philosophical about the economics. So yes, Indian economy. There is a difference between economy and economics. So Indian economy is our focus. It's in the examination. So economy is a social activity where individual or legal entities come together to produce, stock or distribute the consumption of goods and services. This is the basic I have highlighted, consumption of goods and services. Okay. So economy, mode, we have monetary transactions which are very much formal in nature. Uh, so monetary transaction, what we will be learning. So economic growth, inclusive growth, sustainable inclusive growth. What are the needs to measure growth, ये बहुत बेसिक है, प्रीलिम्स पर्सपेक्टिव इवन मेंस के पर्सपेक्टिव से भी रिक्वायर्ड नहीं है. GDP and GNP, name suggests one is domestic, means the territorial boundary is necessary. One is nationals, gross nationals product. So where geography is not the issue, but nationality is the issue. Examples I have quoted, but the definition of GDP is very much required. Gross domestic product is the total value. Don't quote monetary, total value of final finished goods and services produced within the country's border in a specific time period. Means the condition of territory and time is there. That is the GDP. I have told you the criticisms of GDP. What are the criticisms of GDP? It does not count negative externalities. It does not count the care economies. Yeah, it does not count the second hand market, the recycled economy. उसको भी वो count नहीं करता है. So ये उसका ये है. That's the criticism for it. GDP of versus GNP. They might ask you. Both have merits and demerits, but most of the renowned economies they focus on the GDP. They stress on GDP. National income, uh, most important thing that we have read today. UPSC asks question every alternate or 2 years on national income at factor cost. I don't know why they stress so much on it, but it must be important concept. So national income is equal to national income at factor cost is equal to net national product minus indirect taxes plus subsidies. Wherever you are deducting indirect taxes, you need to add subsidies because that was a help, because either otherwise it will be double counted. Subsidies are also counted by the government and you are also counted, so it will give a false figure. So you need to remove it there. Per capita income, okay. Estimating GDP. This slide we missed. Output approach, expenditure and income. Name suggest. Expenditure on what? Consumption. And income of what? Wages, profits, rents. The three pillars of economy: consumption, private or government; investment, private or government; net exports, means exports minus imports. This is expend. Income, wages to the labor, profits made by the entrepreneur, rents of the land. Connect हो रहा है dot. These were the factors of production. So ये 3 मेथड हो गया है. मार्केट एंड फैक्टर कॉस्ट, मार्केट प्राइस. लोफ ऑफ ब्रेड का एग्जांपल मैंने दिया था कि इफ 100 रुपीज मेरा कॉस्ट आया है, इफ इट्स द कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन, इट इज अ फैक्टर कॉस्ट. फैक्टर्स ऑफ प्रोडक्शन में क्या था? लैंड था, कैपिटल था, एंटरप्रेन्योर था, लेबर था. बट उसके ऊपर गवर्नमेंट टैक्स लगाएंगे, सब्सिडीज होंगी तो हम रिड्यूस करेंगे, और प्लस मेरा प्रॉफिट मैं उसमें ज्वाइन करूंगा. So that will be the market price, maximum retail price, MRP. MRP will always be higher than factor cost, but because it will include the taxes by the government and the profit of the enterprise. So this is बहुत simple है, just read, revise and try to remember. GDP NDP, GDP is the total value, मैंने बोला हो, उसमें से अगर डिप्रिशिएशन निकाल दो, जो इरोजन है वो निकाल दिया, तो आपको नेट डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्ट मिलेगा, NDP. नाउ real, and this is GDP and NDP. Then GDP are of two types: nominal, real and nominal. So nominal is without adjusting the inflation. For example, even if the amount of production is same as the last year, the market value of GDP can vary. बराबर है. Now the GDP which is without adjusting inflation, which is also a standard word, is indexation. Adjusting inflation or indexation, which is not indexed, is nominal. मतलब मामूली है. मामूली है मतलब ओरिजिनल नहीं है, ऐसा याद रखो. नॉमिनल और रियल जीडीपी में आप कंफ्यूज होंगे. मैंने ऐसे ही याद रखा है कि नॉमिनल मतलब मामूली, जिसमें कोई क्वालिटी नहीं है, दम नहीं है, क्योंकि उसमें उसका इन्फ्लेशन इंडेक्सेशन हुआ ही नहीं है. बट रियल जीडीपी विल बी refers to the current year production of goods and services at the price of the year's comparison, जहां पर हमने इंडेक्स किया है, इन्फ्लेशन को इंडेक्स किया है. 100 रुपीज का ब्रेड लास्ट ईयर, वो ये साल 120 में मिल रहा है, पर 20 रुपए से इन्फ्लेशन बढ़ गया है, तो वो 120 को 20% 20 रुपीज राइज इन प्राइसेस इन्फ्लेशन से एडजस्ट करना पड़ेगा. वो हमें बेस ईयर से रियल जीडीपी देगा कि एक्चुअल हमारा जीडीपी कितना बढ़ा है. क्योंकि सिर्फ जीडीपी में फाइनेंशियल फिगर्स नहीं बढ़े होंगे. इट वुड नॉट जस्ट बी अ राइज इन द फाइनेंशियल फिगर्स, बट इन्फ्लेशन भी तो बढ़ रहा होगा या कम हो रहा होगा. डिफ्लेशन भी हो सकता है. वॉट एवर, नॉट जस्ट इन्फ्लेशन, बट एनी वोलेटिलिटी ऑफ प्राइसेस नीड टू बी indexed or need to be adjusted with the GDP, and that will be the real GDP. Okay. So real and nominal. GDP deflator is another term. This is also a high yield area, interest area for UPSC. The GDP deflator is nominal GDP divided by real GDP multiplied by 100. So there is a good line about GDP deflator in the last part of this slide. GDP deflator is the measure of inflation that tracks the price changes in the entire economy and not specific limited basket of goods and services. Okay. So ये price rise को definitely nominal GDP is not talking about inflation, and real GDP is talking about inflation. So inflation is the core thing. So that divided by this multiplied by 100 is definitely indexation. This year we have come national income statistics. They don't ask GDP news series, ये भी नहीं. HDI, yes, they ask. Two names to remember: Pakistani economist Mehboob ul Haq, Indian economist Amartya Sen. 3 pillars: लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी एट बर्थ होना चाहिए, उसका हेल्थ अच्छा होना चाहिए. रिमेंबर, थ्रू अ कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ बेबी लाइफ साइकिल अप्रोच. फिर उसे हम स्कूल भेजेंगे, स्कूलिंग भेजेंगे, तो उसका हम लिटरेसी रेशो देखेंगे. प्राइमरी, सेकेंडरी और टर्शरी एजुकेशन में एनरोलमेंट कितना था, उस पर हम देखेंगे. फिर अब वो पढ़ लिख कर बाहर आया है, तो अब डेफिनेटली उसका क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ कैसा होगा. नहीं पढ़ा लिखेगा तो लो रहेगा, पढ़ लिखेगा तो अच्छा होगा. सो ये 3 स्टोरी की तरह एचडीआई के 3 पिलर्स यूज्ड बाय यूनाइटेड नेशंस डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम यूएनडीपी. बस इतना ही याद रखो. इंडिया का रैंक 129 है. सोशल प्रोग्रेस बताया मैंने. ग्रॉस नेशनल हैप्पीनेस इंडेक्स प्रपोज्ड बाय भूटान. द फोकस इज नॉट जस्ट इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ बट ऑल्सो ऑन डेवलपमेंट. One is quantitative term, another is qualitative term. Now the focus of the government shall not just be on building financial capitals but also on the social capitals. The pyramid of social capitals stands on the concept of health, education, happiness, betterment, quality of life. Okay. And I also told you that what economists are debating today has been beautifully written in fundamental rights and DPSPs in our constitution decades back by our founding fathers. Okay. So that's the beauty, that's the genius, that was such a genius people that we had in our legacy, in our history. Okay. So we should appreciate the vision that they had. So happiness index Bhutan, India states का नहीं पूछेंगे. कैपिटल इंडेक्स वर्ल्ड बैंक, ह्यूमन कैपिटल इंडेक्स वर्ल्ड बैंक करती है. question on index is definitely there every year. I think only on prelim 2020 they missed some report. Otherwise, continuously 2011 to 2019 tak one report they are asking every year, every year. Multidimensional poverty, we have seen multidimensional poverty, green GDP, green bonds, purchasing power parity, McDonald's का burger से याद करे थे हमने. Sustainable MDGs, don't remember, they are not going to ask now. It's an outdated concept. It has been replaced by SDGs, and SDGs is the prime focus, pivotal concept. Okay, you need to focus. You need to memorize those 17 things. You can score half or 1 mark extra in a way forward by just quoting the SDGs, because see, such an important document it is that all the members of United Nations, all the think tanks of this world have agreed to achieve that SDGs. So such a powerful document it is, such a legitimate document it is. So if India, Asia या USA नहीं उस पे agree हो रहा है, every stakeholder in the on the globe, every legitimate nation, every legitimate think tank, all they are agreeing on SDGs. So definitely it's a very powerful document to quote in your way forward. I have said the trick to remember and memorize. First questions we will take if there are any. So I think we will conclude now. So thank you very much. It was very nice interacting with you. From tomorrow we will be having our writing pen and pad, and the interaction. Please keep it two-way, interactive, so that it will be beneficial. It will be because आपके जो doubts होंगे वो clear होना बहुत ज़रूरी है इसमें. So thank you very much. It was very nice interacting with you. Best of luck.